Okay, ladies and gentlemen, this is Joe Garcia. It's my pleasure to host this incredible upcoming webinar. Dr. Chris and Tina, they'll go into a little bit about their background. About a couple of weeks ago, I had approached your loving leader, Helen, and we talked about getting Chris and Tina on to discuss StemRenu and how powerful this product is. Before I introduce them to you guys, I want to just share with you my experiences here over the last couple of months since we've had it here in North America. When I was first introduced to the product 6-7 months ago, what really excited me, as you heard my story back in when I was there in beautiful Gothenburg, when I recognized, when I first heard about the product and I started doing some research, it blew me away, the testimonials. And in 23 years, I've seen crazy testimonials over the years. We know that we've got incredible products here with NH2 Global, but it wasn't just the testimonial, it was the range of where the testimonials were from every health challenge that you can think of. And it wasn't just a couple of minutes long, it was in some cases 20-30 minutes long, where people shared passionately what it was doing for them. So that really caught my interest, and as I started doing the research, I started looking at the science behind it. I thought, wow, we've got a billion-dollar product. No doubt about it. I put my entrepreneurial hat on, and I thought, I need to get this product here into NH2 Global. The last couple of months, it hasn't disappointed me, it hasn't disappointed the world of NHT with regards to the people who are using the product. I just sent a testimonial to Chris and Tina today that was very impressive. So from every angle, we're starting to see why people need to be on StemRenu, why this product is going to be a billion-dollar product by itself here within NH2 Global. And my goal and my vision is to help all of you and help all of NHT understand from a business perspective, not, the health perspective is easy to understand. From a business perspective, this product can make you wealthy. It is will be the cornerstone here within our nutritional line, within the line here for the next several years. We've got a window of opportunity. As you know, we're launching it into Europe. You can now order the pre-launch packages. So Tina and Chris, it's a pleasure for me to introduce you here. You guys have become great friends. I love your energy. I love what you've done with this product. And I'm going to turn it over to you.
Well, thank you so much, Joe. Great to be on board here.
Yes, thank you, Joe. It was very special for us to meet you as well, because you not only get what it means to have great health, you understand energy, you understand consciousness, and you understand the financial piece that fits into this as well. So there's so much more to StemRenu than it just being a wellness product. We were really conscious, Chris and I, as we formulated this product, and the energy behind it is really important as well. So it's been such a pleasure to work with you so far, Joe, and to help you or have you help lead us into the NHT Global family with StemRenu. So thank you.
Yes.
You're very welcome. Thank you. It's been a pleasure.
Joe,
Yes.
between us, we've got 50 years of experience in this field, and I have to agree with you. We've never seen stories and results like we're hearing with StemRenu, and I know Tina's been doing this work for well over 20 years. She's been an executive in corporate America, but then she followed her passion after that and went into hosting TV and radio shows in the Twin City areas. This is in the state of Minnesota. And she brought on practitioners from all over the world that were at the apex of alternative practice. So she was able to not just learn, but help facilitate the public and change the consciousness of the whole, Minneapolis, Twin Cities, Minnesota, Middle America. population to understand that there's an alternative out there besides conventional medicine. And it's really based around these concepts of the body's, essentially an energy being, and the body requires specific, nutrients that we've all learned about. And we're taking it to another level. Our experience showed us that it was more than just replenishing deficiencies. It was about helping the body renew and regenerate itself through its renewal system. We all know we have a cardiovascular system and an immune system and a digestive system, but it's the renewal system that people didn't know about because it's never been explored.
Yeah, thank you, Chris. And let me give a little background here about Chris. He's been in the field for over 30 years of naturopathy, and he's worked internationally with many, many individuals and other doctors. He's actually a doctor that trains the doctors. He also is an author of a best-selling book, The True Nature of Healing, and really talking about how the body does heal itself and how to best support it as well. So he's so strong in all of his research, science, and studies. And he's also a former NFL football player here in the United States, and knew that he needed to fix his body first. So we both practice what we go out there and talk about. So we're both very, very strong health advocates, and we've always been looking for the most advanced technology in nutrition, and that's what brought us together as a team. So we worked in the Twin Cities together for about 10 years, and now here we are with NHT Global.
Joe, it's all about being somewhere where you're going to have the best mentors. You're going to have that curious mind to go out there and find the latest. And we've been blessed with being exposed to some of the best people to teach us and train us. And it all just really is core and fundamental. It's based on what's the lowest common denominator in the body. It's the cell. And when the cell gets traumatized, it sends out signals. And those signals are what help it to repair, regenerate, to feed itself, to eliminate itself. So if you look there at the diagram on the left-hand side, you see this group of cells that need repair. So they send out a signal, and the signal goes to this renewal system we're talking about. And the renewal system is based on the immune response and the activation of our stem cells. And where are the stem cells? Well, they're based throughout the body, and also they're produced inside the bone marrow of the body. So the large bones have a very specific responsibility to not just hold up who we are, our structure, but also to support the production of stem cells. And what we've learned is that even though this is going on a daily basis in our lives, unless you activate those stem cells, they don't do the miraculous things they're designed to do. So we've discovered a formulation that facilitates not just the signaling of the production of stem cells, but the signaling of the activation. So let's talk about that very special ingredient that helped us take that next step.
Right there in your neighboring area. We were just in Norway a couple of years ago, and we've been very blessed to be part of this family that is there in Norway. It's kind of near and dear to my heart because I'm from Minnesota, and there are in the United States, and there are a lot of Norwegians, and I'm one of them, Norwegian and Swedish. So we've been really researching, why this egg is so incredibly special. And first of all, it's the only egg that is out there that is fertilized and incubated up to 10 days that allows us to get these very, very special proteins or these signal molecules or these growth factors that are in a highly concentrated form before they actually get infused into what we call the embryo. And when we extract those particular proteins, those signal molecules or those growth factors, all three of those terms are used interchangeably. and we ingest them, they are actually the signals that our body is depleted of or starts to deplete at the age of 21. So when we can introduce those back into our system, it will signal the stem cells that are just kind of hanging around, kind of lazy, telling them to go back to do their renewal process. So if I could give you a metaphor, it's like there's a fire down the street, and you have the fire engine and the firemen that are sitting in the fire station, and they're just hanging out. They're not going to go put out that fire unless they get a signal. Something has to communicate with them to tell them that there's a fire that they need to go and put out. So that's the same thing in our body. Our body has the ability to do this, but that signal gets lost. It gets depleted as we age. And that's what this amazing egg extract from Norway gives us.
Well, Tina, I want to just reemphasize something you said earlier, and it's about a pre-embryonic extract. And that is so important to understand because the signals that are being captured in this ingredient are the signals that are used to make life itself. Here you look at an egg on the first day, it's just breakfast food. But when that egg is fertilized, it becomes a stem cell, and the stem cell starts to make these signal proteins in order to create life itself. And they mature between the 7th and 10th day, and we harvest them all on the 10th day. And the beauty of it is that they have the ability to make the organs of the embryo, make the kidneys, the heart, the lungs, all the tissue required for life. And these same signals, when we ingest them, facilitate our own communication to repair and to regenerate. And so all these things are just so powerful, and we can take a little bit of a glimpse of it in the next slide.
Well, just before we move to that next slide, why Norway? Well, first of all, our formula is made here in the United States, but this one very special ingredient from Norway, we get it because when you get an egg commercially from the United States, we have to give it 12 to 22 vaccinations. When we get the egg from Norway, there's one vaccination only, which provides us a very clean, safe ingredient to be able to put into our StemRenu.
Right, Joe, and here's why it's $1 billion ingredient, because it provides information that is not available in any other food source or any other supplement available out there. And what that ingredient does, it provides the signal to the cells. So if you look at this slide, you're seeing a cross-section of a cell, and you're looking at the surface with this little orange receptor site that's sticking out, and the signal comes on and attaches to that receptor site and tells the cell to do what it needs to do. And there's primarily two functions. One is to make energy that makes us alive and who we are, and the other is to form structural components, either to make new cells or to make enzymes or hormones, other structural proteins, or to activate the blueprint. That's the gene regulatory protein that you see there. So without getting into all the science, we're talking about introducing an architect, a composer, the director, for telling the cell how to be its optimal, to be the most healthy, to be the most productive, to be the most functional. So we're introducing signals that don't exist in our bodies anymore. Once we've matured, these signals are no longer available. The only signals that we have now are the ones that help us maintain and do basic repair versus the ones that help form life itself. So when you can take something at the most formative, that's used at the most formative time, you have something that reduces stress. It facilitates, reversing the clock. It's the most powerful anti-aging substance you could possibly take. So, Joe, I couldn't agree with you more. This is $1 billion formula that has this ingredient that it's unavailable anywhere else on the planet.
And I don't know how many of you that are watching this webinar or tuned into this webinar that don't have stress. And so it's something that's pretty prevalent on our in our world. And so What we've also been able to show with our young tissue extract from Norway, it's been proven to reduce stress, and that stress hormone is called cortisol. So as we have higher stress, that cortisol goes up. And when we look at the studies with athletes, there were athletes that were they get pushed, physically to the maximum level of stress. And so when you look at this slide, you can see that those that were using the young tissue extract, the athletes were able to reduce their cortisols almost up to 50%, which is a big deal because our cortisols, when we have excessive cortisols, it really does a lot of damage to our body and accelerates the aging process.
It accelerates it as much as 10 times. It breaks down the collagen as much as 10 times, exactly. So if you can get a sense of what we're looking at here on the next slide, your cortisol production is something that's important to deal with stress, but at the same time, when it's overproduced, it has a very damaging effect.
It does, like you mentioned. First of all, it breaks down our collagen. For those of you that want to have beautiful skin, which is the largest organ, protective organ of the body, we need to have our collagen. Our collagen is the glue that holds all of our cells together. The other thing that accelerated cortisol levels do is it disrupts our blood sugar and our pH levels. It really compromises our ability to have energy. And when we have those excess cortisols in the body, we have these receptor sites around our belly. There's 6 times more receptor sites around the belly, that tire around the belly, that we get when we have excessive stress or excessive cortisols in the body. So when people start taking StemRenu, people tell them, oh my gosh, your skin looks amazing. Or they can find that their blood sugars are more balanced throughout the day, or they have more energy. But the other thing, a great side effect that we don't talk about a lot, is that people actually start to lose that tire around their belly.
Exactly. Now, Joe, I'm gonna go back to the foundation of this conversation is that the common denominator in everyone is their cell. And if you can facilitate the cell's ability to function at its optimal level, you're going to see results on everything. This is why you're hearing stories that go on not for 30 seconds or a few minutes, but for 20 and 30 minutes, because if you fix the cell, you fix every organ in the body, every organ that makes up every system that makes us who we are. And this is the magic of what this formulation does. So when you see the comparison between a cell of a baby and that same person at 60 years old, that cell is identical.
On the next slide. Okay. And it's interesting that you say that, because yes, when you actually look at that cell, there's nothing different about the cell under a microscope. What is different, and why the skin is aging on the right versus on the left with the baby, is that the signaling is gone. It doesn't tell the cell to be able to go back into the renewal process. The renewal cycle gets lost because that signal is lost.
Exactly. So when we look at the skin, the renewal of the skin in a baby will be 2 weeks, but the renewal for someone in their 60s would be anywhere from 10 to 12 weeks. Now we're introducing this formula to individuals, and they're renewing their tissue and their organs within 2 to 3 week period, as if they were young again. So this shows you how this is working on such an incredible level. So if you look at the chart, the average lifespan of individuals in the Western cultures is around 80 years. And we know that our blueprint is designed to live at least 120. And Tina, I have to share with them, this weekend we gave a presentation in New York City, and a doctor came up to us after the presentation. He said, with the combination of the NHT products with the StemRenu, that number of 120 is actually going to be 200. So it's just remarkable what people are experiencing in their ability to recapture their health and energy. And how does it all happen? It happens with the renewal system. And that renewal system is made up of the stem cells and the immune system. So when you see what a stem cell can do, it can differentiate itself into any other type of tissue, muscle, bone, fat, cartilage, liver, brain, doesn't matter. It just needs the signaling, the communication in order to do that. And the beauty of that stem cell is not only does it differentiate into another type of cell, it also makes its own self, it replicates itself so that you maintain a stem cell bank. And this is why we can increase our longevity, because we're not only activating the stem cell to repair different tissue, we're creating more stem cells so that we have access to this regeneration bank, this renewal system, as it gets fortified and strengthened. So this, again, is just a magic, dynamic characteristic of the body, and we just facilitate it. And before this time, we really didn't know it existed.
Well, and before this, Dr. Chris and I, we were looking at bringing people offshore in our practice to different stem cell therapies, because we didn't know how to get people past a certain level of sickness. And so what we're able to do now is, give them a bottle of StemRenu and allow them to be able to activate their own stem cells without having to go offshore for any kind of expensive therapies that would last for weeks and sometimes months at a time.
Mm-hmm. So, Joe, we're taking the world of nutrition to the next level, where before this time, the last 50 years, what we've studied has been about replenishment. And that's important. We need to put back what's deficient in the body. But now we've introduced an architect that knows how to use those building blocks that we're putting into the body most efficiently. So we get more out of the nutrition we take. We get more out of the food we ingest. We have less stress in life so that we can have more productive energy towards the production and the experience of the fun of life. So what we've done is we've helped everyone understand that the cell, again, is that common denominator. And when you introduce the omega-3 fatty acids with the StemRenu, you're building a healthy boundary that allows the cellular communication and function to happen. When you introduce the Restore Silver and the Restore Vital with the StemRenu, you're creating this wonderful equilibrium of the ocean that's inside the cell, the fluids, and the ocean outside the cell, outside of the cell, where all this communication goes on. So for the maximum benefit and the optimum is to combine these incredible formulas, the elixirs, which we refer to, the noni juice and the trifusion. They have wonderful properties to be antioxidants and free radical scavengers. So you have this dynamic in the cell that's going on, this metabolism, and it's looking for these powerful nutrients found in these special fruits and vegetables and herbs. But at the same time, these same special foods help the cleansing and detoxification of the metabolic waste that comes from the activity of the cell. So the perfect support mechanism is there to help the cell maintain itself. So it doesn't matter what the condition is, as long as you fix the cell, you're going to fix the kidney, you're going to fix the pancreas, you're going to fix the brain, you're going to fix the lungs. And the formulations and combination just do all these miracle things to help regenerate and repair.
So Joe, did you want to go into any of the testimonials or stories that we have?
Yeah, before we go into that, guys, just got a couple of questions coming this way. And what we're going to do is I'm going to open it up. If you want to just chat in the box there, if you have a couple of questions, we'll open it up for you. But before I get into that, a couple of questions that just came along is young tissue extract. In our previous webinars, you talked about us, NHT and yourself, having the exclusive rights. Can you explain that a little bit?
Absolutely. There have been, we have a relationship directly with the egg producers, Chris and I do, for an exclusivity with them. Now, they have produced some of the young tissue extract for other sources, but that's not going to be around at all very, very long. So the egg producers were so strong with our relationship with them, they just flew to New York City to meet with NHT Global and to show them, you know, how committed they are to NHT Global, to Chris and I, to StemRenu, and that is the single source now for the young tissue extract.
Yeah, if anyone ever questions the exclusivity of this ingredient to us and NHT, just ask them, have they ever known or seen the egg producers show up at anyone's meeting besides the NHT meeting that just happened in New York City this weekend?
Right. Another question, what's the difference between YTE and young tissue extract?
YTE is just a trademark form that was grabbed by a distributor in order to just kind of quantify their access to the ingredient. And we don't use the term YTE because it's trademark, belongs to someone else, but I don't even think that's the best description. The best description for this ingredient is the pre-embryonic extract, because saying that it's pre-embryonic helps everyone understand that these are signals that are required for the creation of life, and the pre-embryonic label gives it much better description.
So there is no difference between YTE and young tissue extract as far as the ingredient goes. It's just that YTE is a trademark name, and that's it. And we choose not to use it.
Mm-hmm. And there is a limited supply with that source, correct?
There's a very limited supply.
Because we have the exclusive rights to it.
Yes, we do.
Great. Do you guys want to share just the testimonial that I sent to you via text today?
Oh, absolutely. First of all, it was a gentleman who apparently he's had quite a bit of back pain, legs, ankles, elbows, and neck, and a lot of I don't know how he ended up getting these pains. I know it sounds like he was in combat from what I saw in this, but he could not lift weights. He's 25 years and he's been traumatized and damaged quite a bit and felt more like a 50 to 60-year-old body. So he started to take StemRenu, and it's only been a couple of weeks, and he said, honestly, I can say that I feel impeccable. Not to say that I'm completely healed yet, but there are some bounds to be made. But in the grand scheme of things, we're talking about a tremendous jump. So all of those pricks and pains and the knife pains are slowly fading away, and he's gotten his energy back. He feels amazing, and his goals and his weightlifting have really gone up. So he was pretty much told that he was just going to have to deal with this pain for the rest of his life. And this is a young 25-year-old.
Mm-hmm. You know, Joe, it brings up a very interesting dynamic that happens with this billion-dollar ingredient. I love that. I'm just going to keep saying it all day. The body can only be in a survival mode or a thrive mode, meaning that when it's under stress, it's trying to survive, and that takes the priority because obviously we're designed to survive, right?
So, for example, sorry to interrupt, Chris.
Yeah, go.
Just under stress, meaning, let's say, would that be someone's been in a car accident and has had issues with their disc? Would be classification of under stress?
Right. It could be damage that hasn't been repaired. It could be just driving down the freeway. It could be just in a very uncomfortable working situation or family situation that doesn't go away, doesn't change.
Emotional stress.
Emotional stress, exactly. It's that boss you can't get rid of when you go to work every day. So that constant stress is what brings those cortisol levels up on a daily basis and what causes us to lose sleep, what causes us to accelerate our aging. And what we found that with StemRenu is that we're immediately reducing the stress levels so that we can go into the thriving levels, into the repair mode. So here's an individual that Tina just shared his story, where he was doing all the good things he knew how to do for himself with nutrition and food and exercise the best of his ability, but the body couldn't make the switch. It couldn't make the changeover until it took StemRenu, because StemRenu did two things. It reduced the stress to get out of the survival mode, and then it created the signals to facilitate the repair and the healing. So then he went into thriving, he went into sleeping again, into being able to build muscle and tissue integrity. All the things, no matter how hard he tried, he couldn't do it because he was stuck in the survival mode. So to say that we have something that will mediate stress as much as 50%, as shown in the clinical studies, should excite everyone to the highest levels, because there's nothing else out there that'll do it. Plus, it's a food. It's natural. It's not something you have to get a prescription for. It's not something you have to fly to South Korea or the Ukraine in order to get stem cell therapy for $15,000 to $150,000. We're giving you something in a bottle that is the most remarkable supplement to change the whole industry.
So another question coming in, Chris and Tina, with regards to what's the best way to take the product. Let's say you have a health challenge. What's the best way to take the product to get optimum results?
Okay, the best way to do it is, first of all, when you wake up in the morning, take 1 to 2 capsules. And then early in the afternoon, another 1 to 2 capsules. And we teach people to really be in tune with your body. Everyone's going to have a bit of a different experience because your blueprint is very different. So we'll have some people that really need a lot of regeneration, but if they take too much right away, they can go into the healing crisis. So we just say, start with 1 to 2. After a few weeks, because so many switches get turned on in those first few weeks. After a few weeks, you can change it to taking it just before bedtime instead of the afternoon. But in those first few weeks, when those switches get turned on, your body, your brain, and all of these different functions start to happen. And sometimes it'll keep you up later if you take it at night, those first few weeks. It's not a caffeine buzz or a caffeine energy at all. It's this beautiful, slow, steady energy. We've had people clean their garages all night long because they were just like, wow, I feel great. And so the other thing, too, to keep in mind is that it's a food. And you're not going to hurt yourself. You won't overdose on it. It's just a food. When we travel, or if you know that you're going to have a very stressful day, take more of your StemRenu to help you balance that stress, to help bring that stress level down or keep those cortisols intact. So when we're on an airplane, we make sure that we take, anywhere from 4 to 6 a day, because it just, there's so many more toxic things that we're exposed to, and our cortisols go up when we're traveling.
Tina, you make such a great point. It's just a food, so don't be afraid to experiment and just try at different times, different situations. But we know, because it mediates stress, take it whenever you feel the stress is there and you want to reduce it.
So if you want to impact your life, people's lives, and have better health and well-being, you definitely want to take StemRenu. Or if you're an athlete and you want to compete and you want to recover better than ever before, or you want your skin to look younger, you want your collagen to renew faster, or you're into anti-aging, StemRenu is the product that you want to take.
So Tina, you talked about a healing crisis. What do you mean by that?
What I mean by that is, as we age, our body forgets, it doesn't really forget, it doesn't have the energy potential to detoxify as we age. And so when we start taking StemRenu, because those signals get turned back on, we get our little energy batteries going back in our cells, our body now has the energy to clean itself. And when we clean itself, we're basically dumping toxins back into the bloodstream, and sometimes we can feel that and it doesn't feel so great, and we can lose energy for a couple of days. Or we've had people take StemRenu and their hormones are so out of balance. They slept for 12 hours and they're like, wow, I thought I was supposed to have more energy. And we just giggle. We say, well, just wait another 2 days. And they come back and tell us, wow, I feel amazing. I did need that 12 hours of sleep. And I needed it because my body didn't sleep for years, and it needed that renewal process to happen, and it doesn't happen unless you go into those deeper levels of sleep.
You know, Joe, the body, that microbe that the immune system couldn't recognize, all of a sudden it discovers and it destroys. The debris that's been swept under the rug in the liver and the kidneys and the fat tissue, all of a sudden can get cleaned out. And all of this stuff is part of having good drainage and elimination. We just tell everyone, get on the Cluster X2, hydrate the body, facilitate this circulation and the fluids moving through the system, and create good elimination with the fiber rich. So you see how marrying the other NHT products to StemRenu will reduce this healing crisis and the time required in order to get that vitality and good energy and strength and vitality back again. So the combination is just a tremendous miracle and recommendation for everyone.
Have you had testimonials, just another question, come in with asthma, or are they been able to stop using inhalers?
We've been able to see them reduce that inhaler, let go of those inhalers. We've seen COPD, one of the most severe cases for the lungs, completely shift and turn around.
And Joe, it gets back to the questions, you know, what will it do for diabetes? What will it do for heart disease? What will it do for cancer? What will it do for arthritis? All of these conditions are imbalances in different organs and systems. And guess what? Those organs and systems are made up of cells. And you can't take anything better for your cellular function than StemRenu and the NHT formulas with it. So that all of a sudden, you've got a new pancreas and liver so your blood sugar balances again. You've got new lung tissue so that you can respirate. Your pH has been balanced so you don't go into that asthma imbalance and shock. You see all the things that your body knows how to do to regulate and repair itself are restored because we're introducing the signals that can regenerate and repair life.
So we will all live till the age of 120 or better, taking our StemRenu and our any other NHC Global products. So I think what's going to be really important is everybody needs to be able to supplement their income, because we all know we need to be able to take care of ourselves financially, because we're going to live longer, right? Very true.
Very true. So if you have any more questions, please type it into the question box on your GoToWebinar control panel. We'll take one or two. I'm going to open it up for Helen. And Helen, I'll unmute you. Helen, can you hear me? Okay, it looks like her mic is off right now. So any last minute questions, ladies and gentlemen?
Can you hear me now?
I can, Helen. How are you?
Okay, great. Hi, very good. And you?
Great, great, Helen. Can you just, I'll let you have the last few words here, and I know you've already ordered the products.
I did, and I've used it for 2.5 weeks, and I'm totally amazed. And I'm not the only one, so I'm really, really appreciating that we have these products here now.
Fantastic.
Yeah. Well, I actually have a question myself. If I have, Tina and Chris, first of all, thank you so much for taking your time and giving us this briefing and information.
You're welcome. Our pleasure.
Thanks. And the question that I do have is, if someone asks me, or I would tell them about StemRenu, what it is, and I have like 20 seconds to tell them about it, and they don't know anything about the product from before, what would you say to them? What is StemRenu? How would that help them?
I'd say, first of all, that it's something that will help them reduce stress, and just you can kind of joke with them, says, do you have any stress in your life, and would you be interested in something that could help you do that? And the other thing is that it's a very, very unique formula that acts as an architect versus the common understanding we have about nutrition is to replenish deficiency. So here you're introducing something brand new to the person that is an opportunity to take care of something that everyone has, as well as something that nobody else can offer.
I would do a little bit more than that, Helen. I would try to find out from the person and ask them a couple of questions, and say, what is it that's important? It's so interesting when we're talking to people, either their health issues are going to come up, financial issues are going to come up, something comes up, and if they bring up something that they want in their health to fix, to say, so many imbalances in the body are caused from excess cortisols, and I have a formula, the only formula on the planet that actually reduces cortisols, and it will help take care of everything else in the body, all of the cells and everything. So there are a lot of different ways that you can work with introducing it. And people are starting to understand what cortisols are and just how damaging they are now in the body. But that is the one thing that I think is the most common denominator that people can understand around the world right now, is that their stress is killing them.
Okay, good. Thanks a lot. And I actually got a question on my phone here from someone else who wants to know if someone is taking, what is that called when you have cancer and you're using this poison to kill the
Chemotherapy?
bad cells? Like, do you know what the name is of that?
Radiation or chemotherapy?
Yeah, chemotherapy. If someone is taking that for chemotherapy, if you're taking that for severe psoriasis, I've never heard that anyone would do that, but that's the question. If someone does that, will StemRenu help?
The two things are going to happen. One is that...
Did you get the question?
Yeah, we did. The chemo is introduced, the chemotherapy is introduced to suppress the immune system because the psoriasis is an overactive immune response. So the StemRenu is going to balance the system. Again, remember the immune system is stressed out, it's overreacting, causing this autoimmune condition. So as the body starts to balance itself, then you're going to see the psoriatic outbreaks aren't going to be as common. So we're going to go back to the same answer again, is that you fix the cell, you fix the body. So the person needs to work with their doctor if they're on any medication, whether it's chemotherapy, whether it's antibiotics or steroids or blood pressure medicine or blood sugar regulation. As the body starts to maintain and go back to regulating itself, they need to work with their doctor to get off the medication, because the medication is taking over the body's function. It's overriding what it knows how to do naturally. So to answer your question, it'll just help the chemo work better and also help the person regain their ability to not even have the outbreaks in the first place.
Okay, great. And does that go with all kind of medication that you're using, like antidepressive? Yes. Or even those that are on, alcohol to self-medicate themselves? Would the StemRenu still help for those?
Absolutely.
Definitely.
Okay, great. Okay, I'm getting a lot of questions here. And I don't know why I'm getting it, but I am. What's that?
Helen here. In terms of STEM, this gentleman here asks, Chris and Tina, what's the difference between StemRenu and all the related products in STEM field, in the STEM science field?
Mm-hmm. Well, we know regenerative medicine is the new science, and that's where billions of dollars are being poured. So it's a lot of it's just a marketing ploy trying to capture the interest that the public and the scientific community has in renewal. and in stem cells. And to say that you facilitate stem cell function is really something that needs to be proven. We know that it's just not making the stem cell, but it's activating the stem cell. And in replenishment science, you can take a good mushroom formula, a good glyconutrient formula, you can take all kinds of kelps and seaweeds and phytoplanktons. All of these have been shown for the body to produce stem cells, but none of them have been proven to activate stem cells. We have a formula that not only mobilizes but activates.
Our ingredients are very synergistically chosen in the right combination and the right concentration in order for the glyconutrient to work perfectly well with the young tissue extract, to work well with the marine minerals, to work with the green tea. So we have all of those. We've scientifically put this together so that it works all synergistically and enhances the ability to be used in the body with those 5 ingredients.
Great. I think the next 2 questions I got is probably the same answer. It's does it work with MS and does it work for depression? But I think you already answered that.
Yeah,
or
yes,
do you want to add something?
The answer is yes, take it.
Great.
And the good news is you don't have to tell the body what to do with it. The body has its own divine natural blueprint, and it's going to go and work on whatever it needs to first. So let's say that you have an ache or pain in your knee, and you're saying, you know what, I want this work on the ache and pain in my knee. And you take StemRenu for 2 weeks, and it hasn't worked on that ache or pain. Well, you probably might not want to hear this, but you might have excess cholesterol in your arteries, your veins. And so in your arteries, when you have that buildup there, you don't feel that being cleaned out. You have no idea that that's happening, but your body is saying, wait a minute, this is the priority. So it's going to work on its own priority. You just need to continue to take it. We tell people 90 days, you will be an entirely different person from the inside out. And you'll see even accelerated progress if you're maxing out by using the other NHT Global products with it.
Mm-hmm. Perfect. And I know you were explaining on the Irish webinar, and I just want the people on this one to hear it as well. You were saying if you are on medication and you're going to your doctor, you shouldn't just tell him, can I take these products? But you had another way to say it. So if you could please tell them how to say it.
Yes, it's very important when you go to the doctor and you ask the question, can I take StemRenu? They are legally, they have to say no. And the reason being is they have not researched StemRenu. So they have to say no. If you go to them and you present them the bottle and you say, I am taking StemRenu, is there anything wrong with this? And they're going to look at the ingredients and they're going to see that it's food, and then they're going to say, absolutely not, there's nothing wrong with this. And then you can approach them with the next question and say, that's great, because when my body starts to come back in balance, now will you work with me to be able to reduce my medications or adjust my medications if needed? If you have a very good doctor, that answer is going to be very positive and they're going to say yes. If you don't, we tell people to fire their doctor, because we forget that the doctor works for us. And you're going to them and they have a job that they need to do. So, you know, make sure that you start taking that responsibility back into your own hands, and it's your health. It's your body, it's not theirs. And it's very important on how you present that to them.
And again, Helen, it's just food. You know, we're 5 very special foods that it's no different than going to your doctor and saying, is it okay if I eat my salad or my chicken or my eggs?
Right.
You know, he's going to say, well, of course, it's good food. So
it's highly concentrated, but it is a food.
Yes. Okay, I don't have any more questions. I don't know if anything else came into you, Joe. or was that all with the questions?
All with the questions, yes. So
Okay,
here, go ahead, Helen.
Okay, I just want to tell you a success story that we had in Sweden, or I had, with a friend of mine or a relative actually. She's in a severe depression since 15 years, and she lost family members, and all tragic stuff happened to her. And she's been laying down for 15 years, and it's really, really in a dark place. So I was giving her one StemRenu, and she had been eating it now for 2 weeks, 4 a day. And 2 days ago, she actually called me and said, this is the first time in 15 years when I wake up and I actually see a future. I see some light in my life. So I'm tearing up just telling you this, because I just love it. So thank you so much for having these products and that we can, have them. So from the bottom of my heart, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome, and thank you for having the faith and getting them out there and being on your mission to help people. So we appreciate
so Tina and Chris, thank you very much for your valuable time. Helen, you were fantastic as usual. Well, guys, this is a very exciting time with NHD Global. As you know, we've had 17 consecutive quarters of double-digit growth. We're just on our way to 18 consecutive quarters of minimum double-digit growth this quarter that we're in. Usually around this time of year, business starts to slow down. We're going in the opposite direction. It's incredible what's going on here. We're launching StemRenu officially in early July. It'll be shipped out. You can now order it in your own back office. There's some great packages there that you can order. I would recommend over the next 90 days, get as many people to watch this webinar. I'm going to send it over to Helen. You can also go on steamteam.ca. We've got some webinars right on the homepage there. And all you need to do is just get people to watch these webinars and let Dr. Chris and Tina sell the product for you. And for those people that are business oriented, this will be $1 billion product, no doubt about it. Chris and Tina just did an event in New York. They're going to be doing one in LA and then Vancouver, and then they're off to Hong Kong and China in July. So it's an incredible time, guys. Thanks very much for joining us here tonight. Thank you, Helen. Thank you, Chris and Tina. Have a great night, and take care. Bye-bye.